And here we are. How you doing, everyone? I'm live on a Monday night, and tonight is open chat. So we're going to chat about what you guys want to talk about. And I'm also going to put the phone number if you want to call in with something you want to talk about. I got my phone all ready to go. Oh my. What happened? There we go. For some reason, it's downloading all kinds of stuff on me. But I do have it. How are you guys? Hello, Jesse and Ruth Ann. How's the sound? I hope it's not like blowing you off. Like, is the speakers too high? Should I turn it down? Or yeah, I'm in a makeshift studio. So, hi, G. I'm gonna call you G. That's what it says. I got J, R, and G and J. Perfect, huh? All right, cool. I have a fan going in the background. Can you hear that? You shouldn't hear it. I kind of played around with the mixer a little bit so that I took out all the background sound. But I had to have the fan, man. It was 90 here today. Hot, hot, hot. It's good to see you guys. And I know like Monday, I'm running a little teeny bit late. I wanted to try to be on like 9 p.m. and I missed it by just a few minutes because I was like messing around with the phone. Hello, Odie. How are you, buddy? I bought your wife a purse. You're going to get mad at me, but I bought her a purse, man. I heard she wanted one, and I found one that she can wear over her, like across her so that it won't fall off. And as long as she doesn't set it down, she won't lose it. And she could carry her makeup and stuff like that. A girl can't go without a purse, man. They have to have one. So I have a purse for her. Okay, let's see. I will put the number. Got to figure out where I type at. Okay. Zero. And I'm not even sure if I have the phone working right. I have it connected. I haven't connected it like in a long time. So I turned the radio on and I listened to it and I was like, oh, I could hear it. So hopefully everything else works. Hello, Roland. How are you, man? And I love Biff. BZ. That's BZ. Hi, Winner. I have a purse for you. Next time you come, I have a purse, okay? And it's one of the long strap ones for you. You could carry your makeup and all, the women things that they carry in a purse. Yeah. So hopefully you like it. But yeah, so what a weird week, huh? Like Hawaii blew up and, cracked open. There's all kinds of UFO sightings everywhere. I mean, like off the hook UFO sightings. The government is, turn it up. Okay, how's this? Is that better? Let me see. Okay, how's that? I might be like too far from it too. Like I might have to keep moving it to me if I move back. But how's that? Yeah, it's really like when I don't have it like in a place where I can just set the settings, and because really this is totally makeshift. You know what I mean? I have like a kitchen chair in front of me with a monitor and a camera, and I have the microphone connected to it, keyboard and everything on it, mixer and the telephone plugged in right there, and everything gets discombobulated because I box it up every time, because this is an empty room at the moment and there's no curtains or anything. And I don't live in the best neighborhood, and there's a recycle center on the corner. So that means that there's a lot of traffic, and I know what you got. I know you guys know the type, bicycles with little trailers on the back full of bags and stuff like that. So that's going up and down the streets. And I don't want anybody to look in the window and say, oh, look at that neat stuff. Like I could hawk that, or I could break it down and turn it into gold or something. Tweakers, man. They got ideas, and I don't want them to get any ideas at all. So I pack it all up in a box, and I thought, I'm not doing anything tonight. I didn't paint. I'm not tired. I feel really good. How's it going, Sword Point? I am not sure. I didn't. They kept me along. They kept me long in the store, man. I just barely got here and thought I would set up. I figured you'd be in bed, so I didn't. I didn't want to bother you in bed, man. Because I know it's like 3 hours over there, midnight or something like that. Exactly. That is what we put up with, Like I just set my cans out, and one of the cans is a blue one, and in California, blue means recycle. Now, I don't put anything in there with California Redemption on it, but that doesn't keep a dozen people from dumping it over and digging for it, even though there's nothing in it. You would think that after 16 years of living here, that they would know by now that I keep all the, California Redemption stuff and turn it in myself. I mean, come on. I'm almost living on the street myself. Too funny. Right. Dogs or bears. Yeah. Yeah. Every day, man. And sometimes I wonder, like, I think they might be aliens or something, or zombies, that's what they look like. They're kind of like, really trippy. Yeah, man. So, earlier I was talking to my buddy Sword Point. We were Skyping a little bit, and I was talking about like there's been the Bigfoot sightings are picking up, and we're getting ready to do our 3-day Memorial Day campout, and I was kind of like talking about some different things that I've noticed about over the years tracking these things. And one time we were horseback, and my horse was being a fool. And normally it was a good horse. I mean, I could steer it with my feet. I didn't even have to touch the reins. It would even do voice commands like go, stop, turn left, turn right, get in the trailer, get out of the trailer. I mean, it was a really good horse. But we must have been really close to the Bigfoots. And my horse was just not having it, and it was bucking and bucking. And I kept on having to, pull its nose around and go in a circle until it settled down. And then, let up on it. And well, at a point, I got tired of messing with it. It started bucking and was trying to throw me, which ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. I should probably join a rodeo because my horse never could throw me off. Nobody's horse ever could throw me off. I could hang on like I was stuck to it. But I finally, I had enough, and it was not fun. You're supposed to enjoy the ride, not, be a job like that. So I got off and turned around, and I was walking the horse back, and we were actually following these tracks, and they were probably like 17, 18-inch tracks by 8 inches wide at the toes, and I take that back. It was more like 8.5 inches at the toes, and then it narrowed back to around 5 to 6 inches at the heel. So it was like really wide in the toes, and then in the back, and a pretty deep track. And since we were, following and looking like this, I wasn't comparing them to any other tracks because there wasn't any other tracks, just those tracks. Well, after I got off the horse and I started walking back, I told everybody I'm going to go back, and they turned around too because their horses weren't acting great either, So they weren't as bad as mine, but only everybody's was acting up. So, I'm walking back and I'm looking at all the horse tracks and the Bigfoot tracks, and I realized that the Bigfoot tracks were sinking in the ground deeper than the horse, right? And I was thinking, man, I think my horse was like 1,300 pounds or something like that, 1,300 pounds. A real, I fed him good. In fact, he was a little bit barn sour because of my kids. If we were near home and trying to ride, every time you pointed in the direction of home, it wanted to run. So, he was fed really well. But I noticed that this Bigfoot was sinking in the ground more than the horse. And then you start thinking, while you're walking along, and I'm thinking, okay, so the horse is like, I'm going to be like 1,200 pounds. Okay, I'm going to say average horse, 1,200 pounds, is barely, just only the hoof is making a mark, and the Bigfoot is actually sinking into the dirt, like hard dirt. So, and then, the horse is on 4 legs. So at any given time, there's 2 feet touching. So it's going to be weight distributed, but I still think the hoofs are sharper than the Bigfoot track. So they should be digging in more, and even where the bucking was, it wasn't more, and you could see where I circled him in 2 or 3 places. And he was digging in, and it still wasn't more than the Bigfoot. The Bigfoot track was more deeper. And I was thinking, man, so how heavy are these things, right? So if the horse is when it's walking, sometimes 2 feet are touching at the same time, and the Bigfoot is sometimes touching 2 feet at the same time, and still, sinking deeper in the soil than the horse. And my track, all you could see was the outline of my boot, and that was it. It was like, this thing is real heavy. And so if that changed, it actually changed how I approach tracking a Bigfoot now. Like before that time, if I found tracks, I would go in the same direction as the Bigfoot was going, and I would track it, especially if they were as fresh as what we were seeing, like that was so fresh, like you could see the lines of, of the skin in the dirt, so it was like really fresh. It was really crisp tracks. And so if I found anything like that and I knew it was so close, I would be like chasing it, like really looking around and following the track. After that, it was like, now wait a minute, this thing is big. Like I already knew they were big, but like it put a whole different big idea to me. Like now we're talking really big. You know what I mean? Like it's sinking more than a horse. Like, oh my God, So now now after that, since that time, now I don't track them. Like if I find really fresh tracks, I do not follow them, because the same, what was running through my mind is like, so we're following, maybe my horse was like being smart and getting us out of there, because maybe there was danger that it was sensing that I wasn't sensing, a dumb human. So, maybe it was seeing and hearing something I couldn't see and hear, and sensing something. So I learned from that, like, maybe when it's really, really fresh tracks, like don't start tracking them, because maybe that makes them a little bit angry. Like if they hunt, and I hunt at the time, I was a hunter. When you're hunting, and you're tracking like that, that's what you do, right? You're hunting, so you're tracking and following the tracks. So what if it thinks that I'm hunting it? And that, I was like, oh dang, like, man, what an idiot I was. Like, now I will not follow the tracks. I'll go backwards. I don't need to see it that bad. You know what I mean? Like maybe that will be the last thing I ever see if I follow it, and when they're that fresh. But if it seems like they're a day old or something like that, I'll follow it for a little ways, just to see like what direction it's going, like stride length and things like that, and try to figure out where he's hanging at. But I'm not going to follow him right to the bathroom, like, when you got to go to the bathroom, somebody's talking to you, and then, you walk in the bathroom and you go to close the door and they're right behind you. You're like, hey, like, I'm not going to do that to a Bigfoot at his house. You know what I mean? I'm like, not going to do it. Yeah. So it's open chat. So let me see. What is everybody doing? Yeah, I checked it out. I know Bob Gimlin's story. So, I mean, he basically told the same story he always tells. So I didn't really, I tuned in because, I mean, I'm a Bigfooter, and when Bob Gimlin comes on, I'm going to watch, But he basically was going over the same story that he tells when he talks about Bigfoot, when they talk about it, like he was going over his stint in the Navy and what he was doing as a job, and what they were doing with Patty, and how he covered up the tracks in the rain, and probably was smart for doing that. Everybody else was oblivious, and at least he had the frame of mind to get some boxes and put them over the tracks when it was raining, and he actually saved the tracks. So, I mean, I heard the whole story like a few times, and so I didn't really hang in there too long, that video, what was interesting about that video, that's interesting to me, is when I saw the Bigfoot the first time in 1987, I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. I had a 60, no, at this time I was driving a 74 station wagon. You guys remember station wagons? I had a Chevy station wagon, and I had folded the back seats down, and that was my bed. Well, it didn't have curtains or anything, and it wasn't tinted windows then. We didn't have tinted windows. You could see, And I was laying in there, and I couldn't sleep because we were only maybe 4 miles, and this is curvy miles, so like really probably as the crow flies, we were probably 1.5 miles from where I saw this thing. And when I watched it run away, I figured like it could do the mile in like 30 seconds, like, I mean, it was moving, you know what I mean? Like the distance of where we were to where I saw it was just a little stroll for this thing. And I hiked it many times too. We drove up that morning, but I've hiked it several times, That was one of my favorite hunting areas. I didn't go back after 6 years either, but when I got home, or actually before I got home, the first phone booth I found, I called home and I was telling everybody, I saw a Bigfoot. Oh my God. I was all freaked out, man. I mean, freaked. And I got back home and, had my gun and my bag and everything, and I open up the door and the channel, the news is on, ABC News. And for some reason, they're talking about Bigfoot, and there goes Patty walking across my big TV, right? I freaked out, man. I dropped everything. I was throwing things. I started waving my arms around and screaming. All my kids were like, I go, there he goes, there he goes, there he goes again, and I was freaking out so bad. And I know everybody in the whole room thought I lost it, completely lost it. And even to this day, some of my kids still laugh about that, I came in and things went flying because there goes Bigfoot across the screen, well, that's almost the closest out of all the Bigfoot stuff on that you can look at, video wise or pictures. That the face on that thing is the closest to the face that I saw. And there's only one other video that I would say, I can't see the face on it on that video, but body wise, there's one other video that I would say would be a twin, except for it's shorter. But it is. And if you want to see that video, it is the San Juan Bigfoot. Look up the San Juan. This is or Bigfoot in the San Juans. Type that in a YouTube search, and this Bigfoot will come out. And the color of that Bigfoot was exactly what I saw. The build of the body was exactly what I saw. And then now if you put Patty's face on that, you would have exactly what I saw. See, Patty was more bulky in the hips and stuff like that, and kind of bigger boned in the lower part of her body than the one I saw. So I think that what I saw was a male. I didn't look there, okay? I was stuck on this part because it was so buff. I mean, it looked, if Arnold Schwarzenegger or any, world atlas bodybuilder wanted to have a body that was perfect, and, that's what they would be aiming for, is this thing, right? But only it was a basketball player. Like up here, it was a monster bodybuilder, okay? And then it went like the perfect V shape down to a really narrow waist, long legs, and it looked like a basketball player from the waist down. Super bodybuilder up on top, basketball player body on the bottom, really graceful, not clunky. When you watch Finding Bigfoot or any of those, these shows where they put the, what do you call them? CGI Bigfoot, it's kind of, running along. No. Think ninja. Think like gliding, like, whoo. Like, man, I'm telling you, yeah, trippy. I haven't heard of any dogman sightings. Now, over here where I'm living right now, there is something going on. I've talked to a few people not far, like only like 2 minutes, 3 minutes from my house. I mean, just outside of the city limits. Something's going on, and there's some animals missing, and some of my friends live like out in the country and they have oranges and they have almonds and stuff like that, and they have they grow alfalfa stuff, things like that, and they have small animals like sheep and goats and things like that. Well, these things are turning up missing, or they're finding it dead right there on the spot, but no blood, and only the organ meat ripped out. Okay, all the guts ripped out, and doesn't eat the stomach or the intestines or anything like that. It just eats the heart, the liver. And it doesn't eat the rump roast or the shoulder or the brains or anything. It leaves all that. No eyeballs. It leaves everything. And a lot of times the head is twisted all the way around and there's no blood. And whatever it is can rip intestines and stomach lining, just go and tosses it like that. And so I'm not sure if that's a Bigfoot. I'm more inclined. A couple of people told me that in this one creek that runs down there, I'm not going to say the creek because I don't want anybody to go over there, because this thing's like could be dangerous. You know what I mean? Like something that sucks the blood out and only eats organ meat. I mean, this could be. They're telling me that whatever it is, it looks like a man, okay, and around 7 feet tall, and muscular, like I'm talking about the bodybuilder, but like a basketball player again, real like svelte, I guess you would call it. And its eyes glow red, and it looks like a dog. Its head looks like a dog, and it has really weird bony fingers with long fingernails. And this is the first I've really talked about it, because I don't want to say too much, because I'm not really done like investigating this and talking to people, but only and there's other people in the area around here that if they got wind of it, they would be out there and trying to figure out where I'm at and stuff like that. And I don't want to like tip my hat yet about it. And once I figure it all out and I can figure out like what it is and how it's traveling, and I want to figure out where it's going. Like, where does it go at night? And what's kind of weird about it is I can't say very much more. I don't want to say much more, but only that I'm getting reports of that. Okay, and if I say any more, then I'm giving away too many clues, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. Exactly, Biff. Yep, my man BZ, you're right on it. And yes, it is. In fact, somebody put a video on my wall. They put a video on my Facebook wall and told me to take a look at it. I forgot where they said it is, but it's a train station / what do they call it? Telegraph office. And they had an infrared camera set up in there on a tripod, and then they were doing an investigation, and then there's this light floating around in there. Now it looks like a reflection. I probably should have man, if you guys don't mind, I think I can make it play on here if you want. I could play a few minutes of it, but it would take me a minute to set it up. Not long, 20 or 30 seconds maybe to set it up. Or you could just go to my Facebook and check it out, if you have Facebook, because maybe what I'll do is I'll set it up later. I'll put it on my computer, and then I'll do another show, and we'll really dig into this. But if you want to see it, you can look at it, and it looks like the whatever it is not paying attention to the people that are in there. And it kind of looks like a reflection of light, but they couldn't see it with their eyes. And you can even see in the video where the guy is in there, and he's like, somebody, I didn't have the sound on because my wife was asleep when I was looking at it, and I haven't went back to it, but it looks like it was busy in there, and I was looking at it, like, you guys could look at it and let me know what you think. It looked like that it was touching, it went across him. So like you could see it when the wall behind him, like if it went on a corner of an edge or something, you know how you can see the light bend on the edge? Well, it would, when they were standing there and it would go across them, then you could see it go across his clothes too. But then it would keep going, and it kind of was like going back and forth from what he was saying was the ticket area and the telegraph area. And it kind of wanted to hover around this uniform, I'm thinking is what it was, like an old period uniform that they had in there, hanging in there, because it was like a old, like a museum type thing, and they were doing something in there. So you could check that out. What I'll do is I'll download it, and sometime this week I'll come on again. Maybe I can come on Wednesday, and we'll go over that video. I'll ask him if it's okay. And then, I have a neighbor that moved. She had to move. They sold her house, and I showed some pictures already. It had of the orbs, and she sent me some more pictures where she's at now, right, where she moved to, and she only moved like, I would say, a month or maybe 2 months. And you could see, like, I guess they felt like something was outside, and they opened the window or opened the curtain, and there's an alien head looking in the window at one point. And they barely had the curtain open. And then the next shot, they had the curtain even wider, and there was 2 alien heads looking in the window. And then on another one, it's like a garage shot, and there's a man, a shadow man. I mean, you can see him clear as day, sitting on I'm getting goosebumps at the back of the garage, it's like hovering, but it looks like, like, what do you call it? Hard, you know what I mean? Like solid, and it has a little hat, and wow, and I'm gonna talk to her, and I'm gonna see if I can't get her to call in, and she even said she has more of these pictures from where she's at right now. She said it kind of followed her. So I'm going to try. She said she would already. So I'm going to nail down a day. I kind of don't want to do it on this makeshift studio thing that I got going right here. I really want to do it the right way, and actually maybe get her in the studio, inside with me, sitting down, and we'll sit down with a microphone each with the camera, and we'll sit and chat about it, and we'll share the pictures and stuff. That's what I really want to do. I just think it would be interesting, and we could hear her describe it, and look at, a dozen or more pictures of what's going on in her world. So I'm excited about that. So that's just some things. Okay, and then I have one more. One of my friends, he was on Monster Quest, and he had a Bigfoot step out in front of him, and then only 4 feet in front of him, and this is a while back, and the eyes glowed, and it, you know, that gets your attention. You know what I mean? Like, here's a Bigfoot standing straight in front of you, and its eyes glow. And then he realized, you know, in his peripheral vision, he could see two more of them escaping. So what this was doing the old bait and switch type thing, like, look at me, don't look over there, you know what I mean? And then when it glowed its eyes, of course, you're not going to take your eyes off it. So he went up, and he's like a campground host, and he retired, and he went up to Washington, and he was a campground host up there. And he went up there because he's like me, he's totally into the Bigfoot. In fact, he would go on our Memorial Day trips with us when I first started going with them. And he had been going already for like 10 years before me, you know, before I even started going. But he's moving down here. I heard it was like this month or last month. And he's going to campground host right around here, where there was another Bigfoot sighting just like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like so freaking jealous. You know, I don't know how this is going to be fun, because I'm going to go visit him all the time. But he was in Washington, and he was like in the middle of a hot spot where these things are running campers off all the time. I mean, they would go in, and then they would get messed with so hardcore all night that people would leave. But he wouldn't leave because he knows what they are, you know, what's going on. Well, he said he was out hiking, and they started surrounding him. And he had one kind of like behind him, was making him nervous, so he decided to go back to his truck. And it was really like hounding him, like. So he's going to his truck, and when he gets to his truck, or, you know, he gets to where he could see his truck, and there's one in between him and his truck. And he's like, oh my God, they cut me off, you know, like he's got one behind him coming up behind him. And now he's got one standing between him and his truck, and his truck's his only way out of there. He's thinking, you know what, this is it, you know, do or die right here. So he always carries a 44 Magnum, always. And they're not afraid of guns, you guys. I mean, you hear people say, if you pack a gun, you'll never see a Bigfoot. Bullshit on that. Okay. You can carry a gun, a camera. The one they don't like the most is a light at night. They'll still come around, but they hate the light. And I wouldn't shine the light on them very much. If you're a smart person, you would not like use that light like a weapon, because it might piss them off, you know. But he said he pulled his weapon, and that didn't even phase it. And they know what they are. They know what guns are, okay? They're not stupid. You know what I mean? Like, they know. I mean, he said when he pulled his gun out, it gave him the look like, oh, you didn't just do that. You know, like, you're going to really pay for that. Pull the gun out thing. And then he fired off a round about 3 feet away from it in the dirt. And the sound of a 44 Magnum, you know, that made all of them run. Like the ones behind him, he heard that one busting through the bushes, and that one took off. And then he ran like the wind and got in his truck. So I know I just told the whole story, but I know there's more to it, right? And other incidences that he had. I'm going to take a camera to him, and we're going to sit down in the camp around the fire. I don't know if I could go live. I just ordered a little tripod that I can put the cell phone on. And if I get cell phone service up there, I'm just going to go live with the cell phone, and we're going to talk to this guy and talk about some of these Bigfoot that he's been messing with. And so, you know, I'm got all these things, but right now it's like this room. I want to get it done. They said the carpeting's coming in this week, so that means I can move in next week, and I'm going to be setting all this stuff up in a permanent position, and then I'm going to really get serious on putting content to you guys. I have some videos already that I haven't even load it on the computer because it's such a hassle, you know. I don't really have a place to put everything. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I don't know when, I don't know when for Adolf. I think he's in the room. I think I see him. Hey, Adolf, and I am Simone and Connie, and hi, all you guys. Here I am, and I said it was chat night, and here I am ignoring the chat, talking my head off. Like, I am so sorry. How rude of me to do this. You know, I shouldn't do that. I should be paying attention. But only I think Adolf is in the chat. I thought I saw his name go by. Hey, Danny, man. I know when that one is. That's Memorial Day, and I don't know if Danny's going. I want to go, though. I do. And but only the Adolf one going up where they got abducted at, I think that's going to be June or July. Adolf was acting more like he wanted to be July. And what's really cool is Ken is going with us. So Ken and Adolf, right? Both guys from 101102, we're going to go and camp at the exact spot where they got abducted. And they're actually kind of freaked out about it. Adolf was talking to Ken and telling him what we were going to do. And he's like, hey, man, that's a good idea. I want to go. And then Adolf's like, but only we're inviting people, you know, like we're inviting a lot more people. And Ken's like, the more the merrier, man. Like, he doesn't want to go by himself. And his nephew wants to go, but he wouldn't go if it was just going to be 3 or 4 people. He already heard the whole story and has been up there a few times. But only now that he heard there might be a group of people, he wants to go too. So this ought to be really good. So it'd be the nephew that actually made the 101102 and Ken and Adolf. And I mean, like, this would be good stuff. I mean, fun stuff, fun. Yeah, man, I guess we could, like, gang up on him, huh, Danny? Like, everybody bring a bat. You know, we'll like, or some golf clubs would be like, 4, knock them dudes in the lake, you know? Wouldn't that be fun? You know, but they say, according to them, the more people, the less the chance of it happening. But that doesn't mean we don't see anything. Okay, that's Bigfoot territory like crazy. Okay, and UFO abduction area like crazy. I mean, I was talking to my nephew the other day, and last summer him and his girlfriend were camped out there, I think not far away. It's called Ross Crossing. And they were having some weird stuff happen, like lights coming through the tent and stuff like that. They don't know if anything happened, but only that's what happens when abductions happen, right? You don't remember. You see stuff and then you don't remember. But only they said it was like the weirdest night, and they packed up and left really first thing in the morning, you know, and got out of there. So I mean, the place is heating up around here on things. It really is. It's kind of cool. Let's see. I'm back. Gotta look in the chat. They did see other. Yeah, that was down by that was Highway 145, in between Friant and Madera. In fact, more closer to Friant, I think, by that bridge. You know, I guess a couple of months ago, me and him went riding. We didn't go that way, but we went out Belmont and we followed the river. I guess it was a few months ago, and we talked about that a lot, about what happened that night and everything. And there's a lot of stuff that Adolf has happened to him, you know, and you know, bring your gun, bring your baseball bat, you know. Maybe we could bring somebody that can't be hypnotized or something, you know. Oh, sure, the campers will fit. In fact, I'm almost to the point where I don't like sleeping in tents ever again. But aliens, campers don't protect you as much, and oh, Danny, that's funny. I would need one, otherwise, I might like make a mess. Oh, gee. It'll keep me from making a mess. Cool. BZ can't be hypnotized. I'm down with that, bro. I know you have those rose-colored glasses or something like that, huh? That's the protection. That's the secret, right? Uh-huh. I think so. Yeah, and they have walls. Like now I feel safer in the camper because of the Bigfoots. Like they can't grab a camper and run away with it. You know what I mean? Like now they might rocket off the foundation and try to scare the you know what out of you. But if there's other people camping around, I don't think they'll be focusing on the camper as much as the sack lunches, right? You'd be like, they could just run through, grab a sack lunch and run, and we could be looking out the window of the camper going, ah, ha, ha, ha. Ah, yeah. Glamping. A thermos. Oh, man. Shaken and not stirred. No. Yeah, so but only all the roads, all the places I'm talking about, um, you could drive an MCI bus in there. You could. It's the roads are good enough where you could drive your anything. If you have a soccer van, whatever, there's it's not 4-wheel drive at all. Now, that said, if you wanted to, it's in a good place, like there's 4-wheel drive trails. If you have a 4-wheel drive and you want to go off four-wheeling or ATVs and stuff like that, plenty of places to do that. I'm actually like hoping one day to get one of those like e-bikes, and I kind of want the mountain bike version. They're totally quiet. I could turn it on low and slow, and just while everybody's hiking, I could just sit on it and make it go the speed of walking. And that way I could hike with everybody up the hill, down the hill, around the hill. And I even maybe could be the mule, like I could pack people's packs and stuff like that. And they're so quiet that at least I think, in our hearing range, they're quiet. I'm not saying that the electric motor doesn't make noise that animals can't hear. It may make something out of our range. I don't know that something else could hear. I have no idea though. Yeah, more than one person has seen Bigfoots at at Courtright. Um, I've talked to lately, I've talked to quite a few people and relatives and stuff like that, and they won't talk. They never talked about it because they don't want to be like told they're crazy. Only now it's becoming mainstream, so mainstream that they're starting to talk about it. And my family likes to camp. I mean, all of us were born camping pretty much. So they're opening up about things that they've seen, and that's their favorite area, right? That's their favorite area. And then I was just talking to somebody that lives in Oakhurst, and they saw one just on the other side of Wishawn, which isn't far from Courtright. And almost like a face to face, and he was by himself and scared the what out of him. Like Just like the one just recently, there was one by Bass Lake. Somebody saw one at Bass Lake, and I don't know how many I've heard of over by Mammoth Pool, and that's somewhere I want to go camping over there this summer several times, hopefully by Mammoth Pool. I was told a story about some, I mean, at firsthand, it was firsthand. A really good friend of mine, and he would make fun of me about Bigfoot and all the time, right? And I've known him a long time, and then one day, he levels with me. He tells me, hey, I'm gonna level with you. I'm just messing with you with the Bigfoot thing. But they were at Mammoth Pool, and they had just reopened for deer season. They close it because the deer migrate and swim across. So for like 2.5 weeks, it's closed twice a year while the deer swim across it. But it's a really good place to hunt, because if you can get there like right before when they do the timing on the migration, or right after, there's stragglers or there's ones that leave sooner. The deer don't pay attention to the dates that they use to close the lake. So you could possibly get a deer, or everyone might get a deer if they camp right at the lake. And usually the back of the lake is better because it's not as wide, right? So they're not like swimming across the widest part of the lake, but they back towards the back where it's more narrow. That's where they're crossing, and that's where these guys were. And they said there was 3 Bigfoots out there just screaming their heads off all night long, scared the what out of them. But then he told me if I repeat the story with him, he'll tell everybody, I didn't say that, But that's okay with me. I believe him though, because he doesn't hunt anymore. That was his last hunting trip. That's what happened to me. I saw a Bigfoot. I haven't hunted one day since. In fact, it took 6 years to even go in the mountains, but I go now, and it's not for hunting big deer or anything. I'm going up there for a different reason. I'm still tracking and everything, but I'm not up there, hunting deer, shooting squirrels and stuff. I'm hoping to go to the campout. I'm gonna have to figure out, like, I need a ride to get to the one on the Memorial Day one, because I don't know if I want to take my car. That one's kind of far, and I don't know what the road is like after this season. I haven't been down there in the winter this year, so I don't know how it is, and so I'm looking to maybe get a ride with somebody to the Memorial Day one. I used to ride with Jeffrey, but I'm not sure if he'll have me. I don't know where I'm at there. So there's other people that I can talk to, though. No, the Courtright one, we're looking like maybe, I think, July. And they were saying like maybe July 4th, so that way Ken can come down and have, holiday, like 3 days, 4 days or something like that, and have a real good camp out and do like the 4th of July or something like that. I haven't went squatching with Jeff. Jeff hasn't asked me to, and probably not. He's probably not going to. And I mean, I just get the feeling he's probably not. So I'm gonna plan on not, and like maybe if you want to do Memorial Day, Ghost Wolf, let me know, man. We'll go. We can go camp over at the pond or something, instead of over by where they're at. We could go visit with him though. That would be fun. I heard of him. I've talked to him. I think on Facebook. The Will Jevning. He's my friend on Facebook. I don't know. I think I'm lost on the chat thing. I don't know where I'm at because I keep on looking away and talking. You know, I shouldn't do that. I should just stare at the chat. You know. But I want to go on both. Okay, like we're talking about. Where I'm confused is there's two different Bigfoot trips. Okay, or really one's not really a Bigfoot trip. One is it's going to the place where 10/11/02 happened, and then there's the Memorial Day, and not a lot of people. The guys don't like to have a lot of people going, but I'm sure, one person taking me up there isn't going to be a big deal. We could do an Allen Memorial Day one, the in fact there's some other places that I know of that have as many Bigfoot stuff as Memorial Day, as the spot, or whatever you want to call it, that I used to go to before before I hooked up with Jeff and those guys and went to the spot. I know some other spots that in fact, by Mammoth Pool is one of them. Like right now is one of the times that the deer are migrating. I mean, it's like right now, and it's closed this month. And right, let's see, north of the lake in what it is when in the springtime in the fall they come down the mountain and they swim across and they go to the winter, what we call the winter range, and they winter, and that's south of the lake. And then in the spring, like now, they migrate north and they cross the lake, and there's an apple orchard right there, and a lot of deer and everything, and a lot of berries, and I mean there's food source right there. And the reason I even found it, I didn't know, the reason I found the Bigfoot there is because when I used to hunt, we would hunt there, and the guy that I saw the Bigfoot with, after I never saw one there, but after we both seen it, and then he had already seen one 3 times or 4 times. So, but only he would never talk about it. Okay, it was like that, But once I seen one with him, and he knew I knew that, and I wasn't going to make fun of him, he started telling me that of the migration route, which I already knew about, but he said they follow the migration, the food, the deer, that's their food. So if you follow the migration, then you see the Bigfoot, because if you know what you're doing, and you pay attention. So they're in right now, is a good time to be over there in that area and be in the food source, if you know what I'm saying. And I proved that, like, not to anybody that I know now, but only to myself and some of my other friends, that before I found out there was other people that seen Bigfoot in the Central Valley, I thought I was the only one besides the guy that was with me. So, I mean, I was doing my own thing for a long time, and I was doing it on like that side, I was doing it towards Bass Lake and up above Bass Lake. And these guys are going south. They're going over towards Kings Canyon and that way. But it doesn't matter. Um, you just have to go to the areas where there's food, cover, all that, and then they're there. You know what I mean? Like that's all there is to it. I mean, I was telling BZ I could go up where he's at. He's up by Sacramento foothills. I probably could go over there and drive around a little bit, look at Google Maps, and I could probably figure out some good places to go over there too. I'm finding, like this guy that was reporting him along the San Joaquin River to me, down even way further into the valley, like out almost between 99 and I-5 along the San Joaquin River. I mean, they're out here, and they've probably been doing this for like hundreds of years, and we just happen to be populating around them, but they're slick, they're ninjas. Yeah, Avocado Lake. See, there's that's the thing, like the river. Like we were going all the way into Reedley, and I don't, like, before we found out about Avocado Lake, I've talked to several people that live in Parlier and Dinuba, and they would see him coming, walk like in the middle of the night coming home from work, and they would see him going across the road in the oranges, Orange Cove, Dinuba, Reedley, Parlier, and they were seeing Bigfoots out there. And I mean, I've been hearing about those for a long time. I never put the river, I never like put all that together until, we went out to Keith's and we were talking to Bigfoot Joe. Even when we were talking to Bigfoot Joe, I hadn't put together that the river and how they could use that to move like way into the valley. They could follow that dang river all the way across the valley, if they want to. And there's so much cover and food down here. I bet they've been doing it forever. I really do. Hey, Fire Dude, what's up? Where's Bridgeport? I saw I just saw that thing. What's his name? I just saw him posting some pictures. I wanted to say Thinker Thunker, but it's not Thinker Thunker. It's the other one that does the videos. A little north of Mammoth, like Mammoth Lake or Mammoth Pool. I never heard of that. Mammoth Lake, huh? Yeah. Exactly, Fire Dude. Exactly. I heard about that one, but only there's a recent one. Man, what's the guy's name that does he showed like the white Bigfoot and he does the videos, MK Davis. He's showing some pictures right now where I don't know where he's at, but it shows where somebody cut themselves out of a tent and got away, and they're finding things on the trail. They left all their stuff there, but there's nobody around. And the fishermen were saying that that had been there for like a week now, but they never saw anyone yet. It's MK Davis. So, I mean, if you look up MK Davis on Facebook, you can see the pictures and stuff that he's been reporting this stuff. 1 hour north of Mammoth Lakes. I never been to Mammoth Lakes over that way. I mean, I've been by it, but I never stopped there. That sounds like a fun place to go. It's pretty wide open. There's not a lot of cover over there, from what I understand. Jeanette. I can't even say that word. It sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. The Oh, cool. Make sure there's like water, like a creek, or the lake is good too. I mean, any kind of water that, like when we go to Thule, they're along the river, and they're they like that's where the food goes. Everything needs water. Cool, man. Right on. The Genoska. I just got called by one of my pharmacy tech guys. I've been talking to him for a long time, and he thought Bigfoot was like a joke, and he just saw one just outside Kerman, like north let's see, northeast of Kerman, running across Belmont Avenue. And me and Adolf went out there and checked it out, and I was talking to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, you went right to the spot." And what was weird is where we stopped at, there was a dead hawk in the road. Fresh kill. I mean, nothing ate it or anything. I think it got hit by a semi or something. I don't know, but trippy. They're out there. They're out there in the valley, man. And now, I'm going to be interested in, the more I found out, there's blueberries in the valley. I took my wife to this doctor appointment thing, and the office right next door is olives, blueberries, and some couple other things, and they're like the commissioners for that. I had no idea we have blueberries all over there, and I'm gonna be researching where's the blueberries. Like, I'm gonna find out where all these berries and stuff are grown at, and then see if there's canals and rivers going by there. And I have a feeling, if there's any oranges or anything where they could hide, or like wild area, kind of little islands of wild area near water, I think there might be some around there. I'll be checking that out. Yeah, Mono Hot Springs, that's a really hot spot for Bigfoots too. Really hot spot. In fact, that's right by Tamarack, and my nephew has been trying to get me to go up there the last 4 months. Even in the winter, they're claiming it's like full of Bigfoots. Like they were just messing around, okay, and they weren't sure about Bigfoots, and because I am always talking about it, and I have all this stuff, they think it's like novel, and they went out there in the night and they started messing around, and they got surrounded by a whole bunch of them, panicked them. They freaked out. They live up there. They live right by Shaver and work by Shaver, but I think one of them works at Tamarack Lodge. So they were like over there, and my kids and these guys grew up in the mountains up there. They know the area really good. They never saw anything, so they think there's nothing, right? Well, they got out there in the middle of the night and were screwing around and got the attention of these Bigfoots. The only thing is, it's like the guy that was in Reedley, it freaks you out so bad. Like the guy in Reedley thought there was 100 of them. That's what he was telling us. There's 100 of them. These guys are saying the same kind of thing, right? There's hundreds of them. They're all over the place. They're in the trees. They're up there all around. They are freaked out, and they want me to go up there, So I will. I'm just waiting for like the snow and all that stuff and the roads, and I'm not going up there in the cold. I'm not I'm not good in the cold, but as it warms up, I will be getting out there. I have all kinds of friends up there. I could just stay right in their cabin and you know, right over there. And in fact, I know the guy that owns the. I used to work for him for a while, like side jobs. I would paint and haul cleanups for his property rentals, and he rents a lot of cabins and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure I can arrange a cabin or something pretty reasonable. Hong Kong? Is that a new game? Aho, buddy. Aho. What the heck is a L9? Is that like some kind of new gun? Let's see. How far from Sacramento? Sacramento is like 4 hours, I think, from here. That's what the name of it is? L9? Really? It doesn't sound very good. I see. I get it. Ah, man, you guys are making me hungry. I haven't had dinner. It's already like late and I haven't had dinner. They did the shopping thing. They like, can you take us to the canned food store? It'll only be a minute. Around and around and around and around. Yeah. Like, are you guys done yet? Just one more thing. We have to get a Mother's Day card. Okay. Around and around and around. I go, did you find the card yet? No. Like around and around. It's like, man, are we ever going to get out of the canned food place? Ah, man. 2 hours later, we're coming out of the canned food place, and she says, you want to go to the 99-cent store? Like, no. I didn't go either. I came over here and set all this up, and this is where I'm at. No 99-cent store. Do that tomorrow. Chinese, man, my favorite Chinese place. I was over there, and my friend owns the fish store right next to it, and I have fish tanks, and so I'm over there and I visit with him, and I mean I've known the guy ever since high school, and I'm in there and I'm chatting with him, and this guy comes in and he's asking us about fish and this and that, and then I tell him, I say, I need to go order some food, and he looked at me, he's like, don't don't eat there. I'm like, why? It's good. It's like the best. He says, okay. He goes, if you order it, tell him don't put MSG in it. I'm like, what? He's like, tell him not to put MSG. He goes, I swear you won't eat it. It's all rotten. I'm like, how do you know? And then he pulls out his little badge. He's the health department. He's getting ready to shut him down. Oh man, he said that's like one of the worst. They just throw a box of chicken in the corner, and it might sit there 2 days, and then they'll start cutting it up and frying it. Like what? Not my favorite place. So I haven't eaten Chinese ever since. Now I'm afraid. He put the fear of God in me. He put the fear of chow mein. I'm afraid of that bad chow mein. Get the hung pow when I'll eat that butt plug, Danny. Go over there. Yeah. Yeah, well, for me it's like going around and around and around. I just like circle the store, looking at everything. Every once in a while you throw something in the basket and then they take it out because it's too expensive, or that's not what we're buying. So I don't get to pick that. I never really thought about that, but there is one near almost every Chinese restaurant. Oh my goodness. Yeah, not good, not good. You're right. It's the high salt content makes the liquid in your ear uh the more like you have to not have salt with Meniere's, otherwise you have vertigo. So I don't eat salt at all. I can't even eat a potato chip. It burns my lips and mouth. Can you believe that? And man, I used to be able to eat a bag of them like no problem. And now one chip, and I'm like, how do they eat these things? You know? Yeah, the caffeine doesn't bother me that much. I don't drink that much caffeine. You know, 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day. That's about it. I used to be worse though. Like when I worked at the casino, man, I didn't go anywhere without a cup of coffee, pretty much. 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. You 3 hours of sleep. 6 days a week. You drink a lot of coffee. I haven't drank a soda in so long, almost like as long as a beer. I haven't had a beer in since '86. So like I don't like soda that much. So it's been a long time for sodas for me. I know I have to take a Benadryl. Like right now, this time of the year is bad for Meniere's disease because of the allergy thing. Oh my God, that can really mess you up. Yeah, when I was passing the kidney stones and we were talking to the urologist, and they make you, you know, tell them what you eat and drink and stuff like that. And, the first, everybody was telling me you can't have coffee, you can't have soda, none of these dark thing drinks and stuff like that. Well, after they went over the chemicals in my body and, you know, wrote your menu down for 2 months and all this stuff, and what you're drinking and when, and peeing in this big gallon thingamajiggy, and turning it in and getting another one and another one, they finally, it came down to the RSD that I have is spread. It's in my autonomous nervous system. So that's the one that runs your heart, your nerves, makes your blood vessels, contract and stuff like that. The ones you don't think about, right? Your body automatically does it, like running the kidneys and stuff like that. Well, it turned out that that is causing it's not working properly, and it's changing the chemical pH of the kidney. So I could drink anything I want, soda, coffee, whatever. Um, just I have to add, like, drink water, of course, but I have to add one lemonade a day, and he's saying that's about the only thing I can do. And then I take a pill also that um, helps change the pH so that I don't make the stones, but I still make them, and sometimes it hurts a lot, and it's nothing I can control. It's the autonomous nervous system, or whatever you call it. It does weird things, like makes me break out in sweats, like my heart will start racing and I'll be sweating, and you know I feel like that I just ran a mile, and I didn't. It's weird, 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 weird. I got to see the doctor tomorrow, in fact, about some of that stuff. Yeah, avocados. Somebody was telling me about avocados, but I don't know. The doctor didn't tell me avocados. He said lemonade. That's what he said. One glass, at least one glass per day. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know what avocados do except for they're squishy and good on hamburgers and stuff, and sandwiches. Yeah, so I guess we're off the topics of Bigfoots and stuff like that, huh? An hour and 20 minutes we've been talking. I feel great. You guys are wonderful. I love you guys. This was really fun. I did not expect this at all. The only sin you're allowed, huh? What a trip. It sounds good. I like to eat them straight up, like buy them and pit them and eat them. They're good stuff, especially with mayonnaise. Oh man, yummy, yummy. Like slices of avocado with slices of tomato and mayonnaise. Ah, I'm in heaven. Ooh, that sounds really good too with an egg. Oh man, with mayonnaise. Oh, man, I think I'm gonna try that. I don't know about the apple cider vinegar. I can't like get my nose past it. I could do the lemonade really good, but some of them other stuff, whew, like apple cider vinegar. Whew, I don't know how you do that one. Man, I'm gonna hit up my nephew for some plates of food, man. He keeps on putting up these pictures. He delivers like $10 a plate if you live in the Fresno area. Man, he has some good food. It looks like. I haven't had any yet, but man, it looks good. I'm gonna start like asking him to like swing by with a plate of food for me. Have I ever heard of Watts Cemetery and the Devil Wolf Ape? Devil Wolf Ape. What? I have not heard of that. Like, what is there like a geographic area? Like, is it Southern California or is it like another state than California? Because like sometimes I'll hear about things like that, but I won't. I don't know the stuff like that. So I don't know. A wolf ape north of Clovis? Okay, now that's where north of Clovis is where I don't know about if they called it a wolf ape or not, but that's the one where the people are telling me that the eyes are glowing and it has like big bony finger hands with long nails, and it's you know, like really monster big in its shoulders and really thin in the waist and really like thin legs too, and real creepy. And the eyes glow red in the night. I mean that and right by Toll House Road, Pittman Hill, along that creek. I don't want to say it, but now we're getting into like I'm giving away the area. But only yeah, I have heard of that, but I didn't know it was called a wolf ape. But only I get what I could see how that would be. What's really weird is I lived up there only like right by um, that fire station, like just before the fire station down Sales Creek Road. I lived a mile down there and in Burro Valley, all around. I lived up there for 22 years, and I never heard of anything except for I did hear about the white Bigfoot so many times over the years. Like the tribal members would tell me in Sycamore, they would see it when they were coming home from the casino from work, and it would run across the road. They said it was like 6.5 feet tall. I mean, I heard about that white Bigfoot for at least 20 years. I mean, at least 20 something people have told me about it. Now I'm hearing about, ever since the girl, actually before the girl talked about the Bigfoot track up at Meadow Lakes, I've been hearing about Bigfoot in Meadow Lakes and also Shaver Springs. You know, so all along that ridge right there, where the four lanes come to 2 lanes, people have been telling me that there's something screaming all night and keeping them awake in those subdivisions up there, like Shaver Springs, and they're screaming and screaming and screaming. And I thought it was interesting that girl put that footprint, because that's where everybody's like asking me, what does a Bigfoot sound like? Because something is up there all night long, and there's like more than one of them. Now, these guys have been up there. I mean, they lived there before I lived there, and they lived there. They still live there, right? So they've been up there 30, 40 years. They know mountain lion howling and just about any animal. Well, whatever it is spooking these people. And it's something, it's something up there that I want to spend some time up there this summer. In fact, I got invited. There's up at the top of the 4-lane, close to where that girl showed that track. There's one of my friends that lives up there, used to be a neighbor, but they have some property, and they rent telescopes to like China and Korea and stuff like that. And they have these big old telescopes, and they built these houses up there, like little mini houses, and the roof rolls back, and they have like 12 telescopes in there, and they run off the internet, and they lease the telescopes. And one of my kids he's like one of my foster kids, like a foster kid, and he drives the cranes. And he was up there, and he was setting a couple of these big telescopes in. I mean, they're doing so well. He said, the guy was bragging about he wished he would have thought of this like 15 years ago. But they set these telescopes in, and he uses a crane to, they're big ones, so you need the crane. And he was talking to him and told him to tell me that they need me to come up there and hang out a few nights around the bonfire, because this thing yells all night long, and they could hear it like moving around, screaming at each other. And I guess it's been going on for like a little over a year. And I'm interested in just going up there and hanging out, drink some hot chocolate, I really am. Maybe I'll take a barbecue grill, or some couple of steaks or something like that. Some bacon, fry something up, get their attention. It's called Pine Ridge. I'm trying to remember. I'll see the next time my kid comes through. I'll ask him what the name of the place is. But they lease. You might be able to get it by looking on the internet for. I can't remember what they call it. They have like at least 20 telescopes up there. And he says other countries, not even California or the United States, does not lease them. These other, all these other countries do, schools and stuff like that, and it's all through the internet. But he's doing really well. I mean, they have like now 4 of those little houses up there now, full of telescopes. But it's by Meadow Lakes. It's not far from where that girl showed that track full of water, really big track. It's not far from that, like not far at all. And now these guys have been telling me, like, I never heard anybody say track, but they've been talking about the screaming, you know, and they're telling me, what does it sound like? Well, how do you describe it? You know, I tell them sometimes it sounds like a chimp, you know, and they're like, no, it's like hollering, like roar, big, loud noise all night. You know, so I want to go check that out. You know, I don't think there's a camping area up there. It's all private homes. I know like some people up there where we could probably go on their property, but like one side of it is the 4-lane going to Shaver. So like if you Google it, if you follow 168 where the 4-lane turns, the 168 will turn into a 4-lane. Okay, it's a 2-lane, like 4-lane freeway out of Fresno, and then it'll go down to 2 lanes, and it'll go through the mountains, and then it turns into a 4-lane again and goes up this ridge. When it gets to the top and it narrows down, there's a road that takes off north and goes up the ridge. Now, on the other side of that ridge, down below, is the San Joaquin River and Beaver Slide, I think they call it, the $1 Million Mile and stuff like that, where it costs $1 million to make the little road. But it's all private land. There's no real there might be some land that is BLM or something like that, but it's really difficult, steep terrain. And so whatever's up there is getting around where most people aren't at, because it's very, very steep. And most people have their houses sitting up there because it has the best view of the valley. You can see the whole valley laid out, all the city lights and everything, and it's really expensive to live up there because you get this panoramic view, you know. And on the other side of it, though, is the river, and there's a powerhouse back there. I'm trying to remember what the name of that powerhouse. Actually, there's 2 or 3 powerhouses in Kirkhoff Reservoir. Kirkhoff Reservoir is another one. There's a campground there. It might cost money to go there, though. I guess they are, man. I guess they are. Man, I was looking at the chat from last few days ago when you guys were talking about somebody had like, no, it was Adolf, huh? Adolf has the thing stuck in him. You know, the aliens put that thing in his skull right here between his, like, right in his nose and his eyes, and like right by his brain. But then somebody else was in there and they were talking about it, and it was like, whoa, you know. And I didn't see it when I was, you know, talking, but later I went back and had my voice muted and was just watching the chat scroll and see what I missed, and I missed a lot. How's it going? I dig Daytona. Have you found anything cool, man? I seen you hurt yourself. Got your Band-Aid on and everything. That's kind of, yeah, an implant, yeah. But there was somebody else in there that had an implant too, and him and Adolf are talking. I can't recall now. Darn it. I'm so bad with names and stuff. I have to see it like 100 times before I remember. I haven't seen the LA Marzulli Fatima UFO video. I'm gonna have to look at it. I kind of like LA Marzulli. I haven't never talked to him. I talked to his buddy a few times, quite a few times, but I have never talked to LA Marzulli. Yeah, I think it was Renee. Yeah. Renee. Yes. What was a female? I think it was a boy. I think. I think Renee's a guy. I think, though. I like your name. I am Simon Says. Simon Says, get me a cup of coffee. No. I'm gonna have to go check out this L.A. Marzulli thing. Actually, you know what? I used to follow L.A. Marzulli a lot, and only lately, this Trump thing has me more Q. Like I just saw a picture, like a aerial picture of the JFK Memorial where he's at, and it's a Q. Whoa, that blew my mind. Oh, it was a female? Yeah, I know you, I pretty much figured I figured you were a girl. You're Simone, really, right? I am Simone says or something, whatever, something like that. See, I don't know. I can't tell by people's names. I'm a dummy, you know. I'm like, you have to almost like make it really obvious, or I won't get it. Man, I can't. I'm that those telescope thing that's right on the tip of my tongue. But I know, like, that's two things that I really 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 want to check out is where the Bigfoots are screaming all night long, keeping all these people awake up there on a regular basis, and also Tamarack Ridge and over by the Mono Hot Springs area, the same thing. A bunch of screaming, and in the middle of the night, there's what I'm hearing is, well, they're saying hundreds of Bigfoots, but now they've been out there a few times now, and they're scared to death when they go. Only they're telling me that there's all kinds of different colored ones, like multicolors. And that matches some other stories I've heard where they said there was white, black, mix, like a calico or whatever, a calico Bigfoot. And they said there's brown ones and red ones and black ones. They're seeing all of them. And I can't wait to go check that out. And only I know it's snowy over there, so I'm not going to go until it's not snowy. Well, Memorial Weekend, I don't think they're on acid. I don't think so, but not that many times, anyways. They've been doing this now for 2 or 3 months. I'll have to let you know on like Memorial Day, uh, wherever you guys want to go. Like, we could go to the spot, or we could go to a different spot. Really, like whatever you guys want to do. Really, it doesn't matter to me. Really, the only thing for me on Memorial Day is I like the camaraderie. I like hanging out with the guys like Danny and David, and you know the people that we've been doing this with for a long time, and it's fun to hang out with them. And Danny's really a hoot, man. He's really fun to camp with. I really enjoy hanging out with Danny. And like, we've been doing it like it's almost like I don't know, it's been a long time now. We've been doing that since like 2011 or something like that. It's been a good run. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Oh, maybe I met you. Did I meet you at the SAC UFO con? once. I might have met you. Have I ever had a Bigfoot encounter? I've had several now. Almost too many to count, believe it or not. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. I know. Almost had to like tell me straight up though, huh? Put a gun to my head. Yeah, I have. And my best ones though now, now I call it my top 3, okay? Encounters. My top 3, the very very toppest is my very first encounter, because it lasted, I think, 2 hours. Okay, it could have been longer, it could have been a little bit shorter. I usually tell everybody just over an hour because they almost can't believe that it was that long, right? But really, it was a long time. I mean, we watched, because for the longest time we thought it was a man with a big coat. So, and it was dark, and you could just see only his silhouette against the morning sky. The sky was brightening up, but the ground was like total dark. So that's my number oneest one. Number 2 is Thule Reservoir, or Thule Reservation, and I got out of the tent to take a leak, and I didn't see it until I was taking a leak, or going pee, whatever you want to say. And when I looked up, it was a full moon, and about 30 yards, maybe less. It might have been feet, like 50 feet, 40 feet, not far. There was these huge oak trees. I mean, they were big, and the moon was shining where, under the oak trees was dark, but then behind, you could see behind the oak tree where the ground was all lit up. And there was a big Bigfoot standing right under the oak tree, and he was just going like that, rocking back and forth. And man, I peed all over myself. I couldn't get in the tent fast enough. You know what I mean? Like that one got me. Okay. And then I've seen some running and jumping way back over by where, like before Danny and Jeff and David Ragosa, when I found out there was other Bigfoot people, the other places that I used to go, I know they're there. I mean, I used to track them and all kinds of stuff. And I used to think that was the only place to go until I started hanging out with them, and they took me to another place, and there was Bigfoots. It was like, whoa, they're all over the place. Like that really opened my eyes. But only my number 3 one, I was with Danny and Jeff and Robert, and we didn't see the Bigfoot, but it roared like King Kong. Okay, and it was roaring so loud that you could feel it inside of you, and it was far. Okay, it was like way over there, and it was roaring so loud you could feel it. And that was like, whoa, that was my number. Those are my top 3, even though I have some other ones. Like I watched this one, and it wasn't a big one though. It was like, I would say 6 feet. It wasn't big at all, but it could jump like 20 feet, like amazing, and not make a sound. That's what was blowing me away, because it was actually jumping like a broad jumper. And I actually was watching these deer. When the guy that I saw the Bigfoot with, he showed me that when you want to find these things, if you got to find deer places where the deer move, okay, and you find these deer trails, and you find where the deer are active, and where they go, like they'll go to a place to go bed in the daytime and lay down, and then at night or in the evening they'll get up and they'll go straight to water, and then all night long they're munching and foraging and stuff like that, and then in the morning they'll go back to the water place, and then they make their way back to where they're going to lay down all the rest of the day. Okay, now you find something like that, and then you go and sit down like before the sun comes up or right before the sun goes down, okay, before they go down this trail, and you get yourself set up to where you're next to a rock or a tree or something where your outline is broke up, and then you just sit still and watch. And the Bigfoots, if they're there, you'll see them and they won't know you're there because they are looking at the food. Okay, what they're looking at the deer, they're hunting deer. And doing that, I've seen a couple of, and usually it's pretty far, you know what I mean? Like I've heard them behind me, but only they figured out I was there, right? And I never did see them, but only they figured out I was there, you know, but only when they didn't figure out I was there, and they were on the other side of the trail from me, I've seen them do things that is amazing, you know what I mean? Like amazing. And in fact, some of the things I've seen, I'm like really in agreement with Ron Moorhead on there's something more to them than just a physical thing. Like I think they might be using quantum mechanics or something like that. Like something. Now I've never seen. I know I've talked to people that have, though. I've never seen them pop out, like out of this, you know, out of your, like right in front of you, and all of a sudden disappear and then reappear, poof, you know, like I've never seen that yet. I've seen them do other things, though, like run like straight up a hill that we would need climbing gear. I mean, like run straight up it. And it would take us hours to go up it, and it seemed like a blink of an eye, and they went up it. You know what I mean? Like seconds, and they were gone that fast, you know, like up a rock thing. And I don't know how they did that, unless they had some kind of sticky grippers on there. You know, I don't know, you know. That's why I think there might be something, because of how fast they were moving, and also it seemed like they were taking an elevator. You know, it was like ridiculous. Like, only it was really far away. You know what I mean? Like those were far from me. And that's usually when they figured out I was there, and they were taking off and they were getting away. They were like splitting because it was deer. Usually when I was hanging out there, I went with those guys. They're deer hunting. I wasn't deer hunting. I was Bigfoot hunting. So I would go with them so I wouldn't be alone, and there was all kinds of guns, you know, and protection. But only I would still be doing the same thing as them in tracking deer and movement of deer, because that's where the Bigfoot sightings were. Now, if you don't believe me on that, like I never really thought about it as mainstream way to find Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like if they're hunting deer, and I seen one deer hunting, that was my first time seeing one, you know, and I was wondering why I didn't see it before, you know, see one before that. And then the guy that I was with already had seen one 4 times already in the same area, and he was doing the same thing. when I started, when the internet came on, because this is like pre-internet, okay? When the internet came on and there was sightings to read, I started reading sightings that was almost like what I was experiencing, and I knew a lot of them had to be real because they were deer hunting. Like almost all the sightings that I read, it was deer hunters. And so like it was like, I'm onto something, be a deer hunter, and you'll find a deer, you'll find a Bigfoot, you find the deer, you find the Bigfoot, like that. But yeah, that's that always makes I never thought of it as people not thinking of that. Like I always thought of it as, well, naturally, like duh. But only, what, I never thought of it like as, I'm a hunter, so it's naturally going to be duh to me, but only to everyone else that doesn't hunt, that would not enter their mind. It would be like, whoa, oh, like a aha moment, So, like I think of that, James, like what if they do have a change in diet plans? That's why I call tents sack lunches. You know what I mean? Like I have never felt comfortable ever since. I'm serious. Like I'm being totally honest. You know. All right, you have a good one, Simone. And I probably should go too, man. I'm looking, it's almost 2 hours I've been on. Probably everybody's probably sleepy, tired of hearing me. And this tonight's like open chat. I hope y'all had a good time. I did. Really did. I know the guy that shot all the Naked and Afraid's, the cameraman. I could ask him anything. Anytime you want to know anything about Naked and Afraid, just ask me. I'll find out. I know the cameraman. And he's a really good friend. Yeah. I do believe they live under the ground. Yes. And I think they're up in the trees too. I don't know if they sleep in the trees, but they go up in the trees. And they'll be up in the trees. Yes, I have. I have seen that. In fact, there's a name for that called iridium flares. And it's like somebody's taking a picture of you. And from what I understand, it's like a satellite. Okay, the sun is moving or whatever, or if it's a geostationary satellite, and as it moves, as the Earth, that's locked into the Earth orbit or whatever, and as the Earth moves and the sun moves and all this, will be a glint off the solar panel or something like that, and that's what the flash is. That's a scientific thing they say, but I can't say for sure. But only we do, like, I should do some sky watches here this month if you guys want. I found a few places where we could go and sit out and not be accosted by people, and we could sit out there and watch the skies. And like I was thinking like Lost Lake. Let's go to Lost Lake and make that the Skywatch place. Let's see, what is it? It starts off bright white light, then dims out, reappears again, moving southeast towards hills. Last 10 minutes. Sometimes that might be the space station too, and sometimes it could be an airplane out way far out. If are you in the Fresno area, Central Valley? Oh my God, that I would die. If Bigfoot came and sat on me, dude, I would have a heart attack and die. Really, that's not far. We should probably do like a skywatch. What is a where's a good place over there? There used to be a hill that you could go out by Orange Cove and sit up there. Maybe we could talk to I know somebody out there. I'll ask and see if we can go sit up on his hill. I think we could sit by uh, Pine Flat Dam, go up to the top at the parking lot. We'll have to. That's a really good place too. I don't know if they close it at night though. But only it would be great to do a skywatch with all you guys. Really cool. All we do really have to do is get out of the city, really. So it could be out in the country. If you have a friend that has a house out in the country, anywhere out there, Reedley would be good. There's Bigfoots in Reedley. We could have some fun in Reedley, I'll tell you. There was some running around out there several nights, and I actually saw it run across Jeffrey's Fleur. So did he, and so did Isaiah. All of us saw it, and for sure, Bigfoot's in Reedley. And there's great places to skywatch too. I know some people that live out there by Dinuba. I might be able to get out there. They live out by the Dinuba energy plant. In fact, they were telling me that they've been seeing UFOs over there, and not like recently. I mean, like recently, but only recently. Like over the years, all my kids worked there. My niece and her husband, they live. He's the energy plant manager, so they've been out there for years, and they've told me all about these, UFO sightings that they get out there. Reedley is along the Kings River, so it would be, let's see, east of 99 and south of 180, Highway 180. It would be just south of Sanger. Yeah, east of Selma, about 5 minutes. Yeah. Smelma. Sorry about that. Smelma. Yeah, man, that would be fun. Yeah, see, there's Smelma is south of me and Madrid is north of me. Yep, those two towns, Madrid and Smelma. Yep. Well, you guys, I really got to call it in like a minute and a half. It's going to be 2 hours that I've been sitting here, and I'm hungry. And you guys, ever since you talked about Chinese food, I can't stop thinking about food. You guys you're killing me with it, and that's my favorite food, and I haven't had any in a long time. I mean, you got me thinking of Joseph and his food. Oh man, I mean, all I can see is these pictures of barbecued food that Joe does. Man, oh man, I'm like hungry now. I could eat like a whole box of chow mein for sure right now, and the box, right? The chow mein and the box. Dude, getting Bigfoot footage, one, like, if, okay, Joe, if you didn't want somebody videotaping you and you thought people were out to get you, and you were um trying to be hidden. You're trying to hide yourself, okay? How easy would it be if you're like, people are out to film you, and I mean, you are trying to be as elusive and leave no trail or anything, right? How easy would it be to get a picture of you? Think of it like that. Because you're smart enough to where you would not give the opportunity for, I mean, if it was, it would be mere seconds, right? And usually you can't even react fast enough. And then there's the other thing, like if the Bigfoot presents itself, right? They're smart, man. I mean, don't think of them as big monkeys or nothing. I mean, they're smart. Now, if it does present itself for a picture, usually you only have seconds to react. If you have longer than that, you're so freaked out at what you're looking at that almost the last thing you think of is the camera. I'm not kidding. You could even be holding it in your hand and you'll be like, because what you're seeing is not what you think. You know what I mean? Like when you finally realize that you're looking at something that is huge, like if it isn't tall, real tall, it's wide and big and muscular and powerful and fast and like a human, you know what I mean? It's human-like. So, I mean, it like blows your paradigm out. And the last thing you think of, by the time you think of a camera, then you're like, camera, and then it freezes and it won't move. Or the camera will malfunction. Somehow they can malfunction cameras. I don't know how they do it, but they do. And they can make several game cameras malfunction at the same time, get the food that you put there for them that they love, and they get it, but they can malfunction the cameras, and the cameras will malfunction during the time they're getting whatever it is you left there, apples or whatever. And then as soon as they're out of range, all of a sudden the cameras work like they're like nothing. I mean, like they're supposed to. But they'll take pictures, but there will be nothing on it. It'll be like dark pictures, nothing. 6, 7, 8 pictures, all the cameras going off at the same time, no picture. Like it's like I can't figure it out. I've tried. I mean, like me and a whole bunch of other guys, and probably people all over the freaking United States. There's game cameras everywhere. These things know, and they can also jam the frequency, or they can make the batteries go dead. I mean, it's crazy. That's why I was telling you earlier. There's something about them that is the Ron Moorhead quantum physics thing. That's one of the things, right? That's one of the things right there. I wish, like I run around with a camera now. I finally got a camera and I run around with it everywhere. I've caught deer, bobcat. I got a couple of possum and a few snakes, but I have, and there was Bigfoot around. I did not get a Bigfoot. I didn't see one yet, but I got coyotes. I mean, it's easy to get that stuff because they don't know, you know what I mean? They're not, what do you call it? They don't have brains like us. I mean, you know, the animals, but the Bigfoot does. It thinks it's sentient. That's the word, sentient. They're sentient beings, and they're not going to sit there and pose for you, you know, like they will not do it. They'll do everything they can to avoid. And if they know you're in the area, you will not get a picture unless they really want you to. You know, yeah. The augmented one. I don't even know what that means. I hope it's good. Does that mean I got the butt plug firmly in place, right? No. That way I keep, you know, like, that's when you can pull the butt plug and leave a very slippery trail so Bigfoot cannot catch you. You know. Oh boy. I know now I needed to like go away, huh? I'm getting like TMI, TMI, you know. Only that I mean, it scares the shit out of you. So, you know, that used to be one of the things my dad would say was, what if you ran up on one, you know, what would you do? And he said, I would just reach around, grab a handful of shit and throw it at him right in the face and then run. And then they're like, where did you get the shit? He goes, don't worry, it'll be there, you know. Ah, you're the one that knows the musical. Maybe you could help me do an intro, an outro, or whatever, lead in music and lead out music, or whatever you call it. I thought about doing that somehow, you know, and then having like funny little pictures. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, you know. I even though I did TV work all my life and been around the world with a camera and stuff like that, I never was the editor really. I mean, I did a lot of editing, but I wasn't the creative one that did the I was the guy that like put the A and B roll together, you know, and stuff like that, and I was working off of a script usually that somebody else wrote. So I mean, I never really that's why I like doing live, because it just flows, you know, and when you're done, you turn it off and then it's done, you know. The editing drives me nuts because you like I did Richard Keel's video biography one time for a movie that he was doing, and it was for his investors. Chinese food, stop it, you know, yummy. You guys are killing me. And the James Bond, he did like, I don't know, 3 or 4 James Bond music, you know, for 3 years after I finished that video, that song was stuck in my head. If I even heard any kind of guitar like that, immediately, you know, in the night, going to sleep, I mean, oh God, that drove me nuts, man. Even like the other day, I watched Richard Keel in I can't. Oh man, the one with Barbara Bach. I can't remember the name of it. The one where he's in Egypt and he picks up the van, and you know, and in the train, he always was like, his favorite thing to do was to beat up Roger Moore. Okay, I mean, he loved it. I mean, that, like, when you started talking about James Bond, the first thing that Richard Keel would talk about is like grabbing him by the neck and throwing him, and then upside down, and he would slam against the wall and then fall on his head, and he would laugh. He thought that was great. That, you know, he was Sir Roger Moore. He was beating up Sir Roger Moore, you know, and he loved it. He loved it. Absolutely loved it. That was his favorite thing. And, you know, when I watch that movie, I love it when he's like beating the crap out of Roger Moore, like in Moonraker. They're on that tram, right? And they're fighting on the tram, and he's got him, and he's got his face, and he's like, you know, it's great stuff, man. Great stuff. It really is. But yeah. Cool, man. We'll have to get with you on that one. Cause I could play any music, you know, AM, FM, CD, you know, I used to play guitar a long time ago, but I mean a long time ago, like 50 years ago. That's how long, you know, 47, 48 years ago. But I put down the guitar and I haven't picked it up since, and I don't even know if I could even remember anything about it. I believe the government hides Bigfoot bodies. Yes. Like when I was in Oregon, when Mount St. Helens blew up in 1981 or 80 or whatever it was, my neighbor was a hot shot, one of the firefighters. And they called him up to go up to Mount St. Helens, and he was to search for the bodies. They knew that there was some people out there that didn't leave, and they were supposed to. Like, they didn't believe the thing was going to blow up, right? And so there was people that got killed there, and they called him up to be search and rescue, and they could drop him out of a helicopter. He was one of those kind of guys, right? And so they could drop him in back far in, and the roads are all tore up, so they couldn't drive into these places, but only they could drop him in, and then he could search for areas and have radio contact and everything. And if he finds anything, then he could bring it to the place where the helicopter can land, right? Well, he gets over there, and he said he got to where he was going to report, and there was a helicopter sitting there, and it was like just sitting there, and he couldn't get closer than 60 yards or 75 yards from it, right? Like a half football field or so. And he got stopped, and they told him to just stay right there. He can't report to them yet, right? Just stay right here. And he was chit-chatting with the guy, the military guy. It was military. And pretty soon the helicopter starts, firing up, spinning up to speed, and took off. And it had a big net, those big fat cargo nets, and it was full of bodies, furry bodies. First he thought it was bears because it was so far away, but as it lifted off, it came over towards him, and as it's lifting off, about 15 feet above his head, 10 or 15 feet, that cargo net went right over him. He said there was hands and feet hanging out of the big squares. And he goes, they were human, hairy human, and Bigfoot, big feet, hairy feet hanging out. And the government had a big old net full of them. He goes, he doesn't know how many were in there. And they were collecting the Bigfoots, the dead Bigfoots. So yeah, they have them. And I know that even before I even seen a Bigfoot. In fact, I told the guy he was lying to me and drank too much beer, like where were you smoking when you got over there, man? I was kind of making fun of him. But when I saw it, I knew he was telling me the truth. And in fact, he was pretty pissed off at me. He let it slide, but it pissed him off that I didn't believe him. And but I believe him now. And I kind of believed him then, but you don't want to believe him because I lived in the mountains and worked in the mountains, and grew up in Yosemite and stuff like that around there. So I mean, like, the idea of these things running around does not go good with hanging in the woods. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to run up on one of those, so they can't be real. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want them to be real, but once you're face to face with one and it blows your paradigm away, then it's all over. Then like the innocent walking around in the woods thing, gone. Like, no more of that. No more walking up and down creeks and fishing creeks all by yourself and all that stuff. None of that. All that, enjoying the woods, like that kind of thing, doesn't happen anymore. Now you're wandering around thinking there's something around every bush. You know what? You're looking for them. All right, man. Stay in touch. All right, I'll try and remember to keep my phone on. Okay, Chris? I'll try, and I have a hard time with that. When I set it down and then I get busy, and next thing I know, I come back and it's dead all the time. I'm so bad about that. I'm just not the phone guy. I wish I was more, but only I should get going. You guys, I had so much fun tonight. You guys rock. I love it. I love sharing what I know. I like the questions that you can throw at me. One day I thought, I was thinking, like, the other day I should get Bobo on because he's really good at that too, and he's real knowledgeable about this stuff. And maybe one day I'll have him call in and we can sit and do the chat, and take people's questions, because Bobo has a lot of experience, man. I'm gonna have to talk to him about that and see if he'll do that with me, because I think it would be really cool. Him or maybe Clip Rackman or something. I don't know, but I think it would be interesting because those guys, man, they have a lot of knowledge and what's cool, like they've been doing it as long as me, easy. He is, man. He's like 6'8" or something. He's a big dude. Yeah, he's like skinny now. Something about that. I'd like to talk to him about that off the record, though, off the air. Maybe he's doing it to get healthy. Maybe something happened. I don't know, but I'm not saying anything happened. I'm just saying he's looking a lot more healthy, and his hair is real gray. Like, and I don't know about that. All right, you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Before I go, I want to pray for everyone. I want to pray that your health, wealth, your family, your job, everything that you're facing, I pray the Lord go before you and the people find favor with you. That I pray your finances are blessed, your health is blessed, your relationships are blessed, your work life is blessed. I pray your health remains healthy, and if you're not healthy, I pray you get healthy. And I want to say I love you guys, and I don't want to go out without praying for everybody that hears my voice. That goes for you. Even after I turn this off, this prayer goes out and it stays going out, and I stand in agreement with you that whatever it is that you need, you get. So bless every one of you. Thank you so much. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I do that because I almost forgot, and I wanted to make sure, because I want to do a show on that too, because we're in a time that's different. We're in a right now time. You could ask for God for anything right now and get it right now. And we'll talk about that on another show. So you guys have a really good night, and I hope you have a great week too.